Yate, she Jani Ingram Yanashe, na anestesi ticini nishle, Bilagana Bashis Chin, Kitsuchini Dashis Che, Bilagana Dashis Nali. So, hello, I'm Jani Ingram. I am from Kingman, Arizona, and I came to NAU in 2002, and I am currently a Regents Professor in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. We are in Flagstaff, Arizona, on the campus of Northern Arizona University in the Science and Health Building. So yeah, this is my lab, so I'm on the third floor of the Science and Health Building, in the wing of the analytical chemists, because that's my background. And so I have students who aren't in here right now, because I think it's Friday during class time, but we have lots and lots of samples and chemistry going on in the lab most of the time. So I am a member of the Navajo Nation. My mom is where I get my Navajo side, and then my dad is the Bilagana, or the white guy. And her family's from Tohatchi, New Mexico, and then my dad's family, he was born and raised at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. For me, it's become, I think, a larger and larger part of my identity. When I was growing up, I didn't grow up on the reservation. I used to go and spend time with my Navajo family in the summers, and I tried to learn a lot. But I think as more of an adult, I really appreciate the approach to thinking about things more holistically, as most tribal folks do. I've learned a lot from my students about more traditional ways. But one of the things that I try to do now is to incorporate those traditional ways in the research that my group does. Yes, so definitely going out and doing the sheep butchering and then having a big feast afterwards, because it's not just the food, but it's also, really a gathering of families and people that maybe you haven't seen for a while. So that was always really kind of cool to do, both when I was growing up and now as, like I said, a researcher, so it's a lot with community members. I definitely like mutton stew if it's got more than just the mutton in it. So potatoes and onions and those green chili is awesome. And then, of course, a side of fried bread is wonderful. And then I've been making more blue corn mush, which is something I didn't really grow up with, but I've really acquired a taste since really coming to Flagstaff. It definitely has shaped my perspective on, like I said, trying to think about things more holistically. As a scientist, a lot of times you're trained as a reductionist, which means you try to get things into the most simplest form so you can control every part of an experiment. But we know in the real world, there's so many different things that can happen. And so I feel like that's a really important aspect to put into the research. And so I'm doing that more and more. That, and then just talking with community members and getting their perspectives is really important as well. I think partly growing up and going out to the res and just talking to some of the family members, particularly those who did work in the uranium mines, and just how little protection they had. And then when I worked for the Department of Energy, actually for 12 years after I got my degree up in Idaho, and learning more and more about contaminants and how prevalent they are, how they move in the environment, how people are being exposed. So I learned a lot there. And then when I came to Flagstaff and had the opportunity to work on projects that really do bring in environmental contaminants, and these people are living just right near waste piles and having issues with some of the water and those kinds of things, it just has become a passion. Sometimes people aren't even aware, but there are over 530 abandoned mines out on Navajo, and only a handful have been remediated or cleaned up. So there is a lot of waste that's associated with these abandoned mines, as well as just they're kind of in different areas of Navajo Nation, but people live very close to these areas that were mined and really want them cleaned up, but it just seems like the process is so slow. It definitely has helped me to understand better the land. Because I think there are times where researchers who aren't familiar with the land or don't really try to get to know the community folks go in and have an idea, this is what needs to be done, and really don't know, the community and the barriers that might be up. So I think it's really important to connect to the community. My family is from the eastern side of Navajo. A lot of our work is on the western side. So I'm building up collaborators with the community members to really better understand some of the issues on this side of the reservation. I wish that people would just go out and see what folks have to deal with in terms of having to haul water because they have no plumbing in their homes, and understanding that they don't always have a readily available well. So they might have a well that they've hauled from for a while and it has dried out. So they have to find another well and hoping that it is clean water. I think just understanding the ruralness of a lot of the families out on Navajo would be really important, because I've had students give talks about their research at national conferences, and people say, well, why don't they just drink the tap water? Not understanding that people in the United States do not have working plumbing in their homes. Don't dumb it down. Sometimes I think when we as women are going from the elementary schools into middle school into high school, sometimes to impress a certain boy or a certain group of people, we don't really push ourselves to be super smart. And so I'd say, you can be smart and, get along with others and not have to, like I said, dumb it down. So I think that's really important. It just is frustrating when I've interacted with like an elementary school student, and then they just, really don't want to pursue things because they don't want to look like the smart person. Although I think it's getting better. There's more nerds and we're cool, so it's good. Definitely before, I have 3 children, and when I get home, they want dinner, they need to go to their practice, they need to do things. And so it's really good to be able to just put aside the work and do that. Now my kids are all off on their own, and so I really enjoy cooking. That's fun. And then just spending time with my husband. We like to watch a lot of sports, but really trying to put things aside. Don't always achieve it, but try to. Definitely listen. I think listen to concerns, and maybe not experience the things that the communities experience, but at least take a look at the housing issues, the ruralness, like I said, the roads, taking a drive out with a community member and just learning more about it. But I think the main thing is to listen. I just find it awesome. I'm really fortunate to have other brothers and sisters that are on faculty and staff, and the students who are Native. I really enjoy working with Native students who are from different backgrounds, not just Navajo students, and learning about their culture. I'm hoping someday that my chemistry department would be majority Native. I don't know if that will ever happen, but I really do enjoy just interacting with other Native folks and getting their perspectives. Usually, sometimes clean the house, but oftentimes it's traveling. Now, like I said, my kids are gone, so my husband and I do enjoy traveling. We got to go to Brazil and to Australia this last year. So planning trips is fun. And if nothing else, just going to see the Mercury play or something like that is fun.